So today is the fourth week in our study about God, and how we mentioned, it is our last week away from home. God. What do you think about when you hear the word God? And for so many of us, we think, well, it's such an elementary topic. Let's move on. Let's go on. But yet, G-O-D, a concept that we've always heard about, do we take time? And that's why we take like 8 weeks, 7 weeks for us to reflect on this, so that over a period of time, we can really do some introspection to say, how am I responding to this person that we call God? So God, is he an ocean to you or a swimming pool? I think you say, well, probably seems like he should be an ocean, right? That sounds like the right answer, because expansive, you stand on the shore and just look out, and as far as you can see, everywhere, as far as your eye, beyond the eye, there would be the ocean, where a swimming pool would be contained, and you can see to the bottom, where the ocean, you can't see to the bottom, and it's mysterious in some sorts, and it's to be feared or respected as well. It could be seen as dangerous. But if you were asked, tell me about God, a coworker or a friend, say, tell me about God, what are you going to say? And I think there are probably two responses that would dominate our replies. One would be, well, God is the creator of the world. And he is. He spoke the world into existence. But I think we would also say, along even with those who aren't followers of Christ, you'd say, well, we hear that God is love. And he is the creator, and he is love. But he is so much more than that. So we look at God in the Old Testament, and we see a wrathful God. We see a God that sometimes we may say, well, he's a little bit angry or uptight. He has high standards, and he's coming down on mountains, and the mountains are shaking. And he's telling people that if you see my face, you're going to die. They're opening the temple, and the priests can't even do their duties because the glory or the weight, the kabod of God has come down and is so strong. And he's speaking through people who are probably, they're like very eccentric people, and they're yelling, and they're just mad. They seem like they're mad, right? That's the kind of God that we look at in the Old Testament. And we see God in the New Testament as that Jesus, his son, has come to the universe, come to our world, and he's entered into the university, and he's gone to a liberal arts school, right? Some of the edges are taken off. He's a lot more tolerant. He's more compassionate. He's more serving. It's like he's come so that he can save God's reputation. Yet the God we have is the God that was, is, and is to come. There is no difference in the God between the Old Testament and the New Testament. He is what he is. You want to know what he was like? What is he now? You want to know what he's going to be like? What was he like? So A.W. Tozer in The Knowledge of the Holy says it like this: a right conception of God is basic, not only to systematic theology, which is the way that you group God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, how you group all the teachings of Christ. It's not only basic to systematic theology, but to your practical Christian living as well. It is to worship what the foundation is to the temple. Where it is inadequate or out of plumb, the whole structure must sooner or later collapse. I believe that there is scarcely an error in doctrine or a failure in applying Christian ethics that cannot be traced back to having an imperfect or an ignoble thoughts about God. Our view of God will affect everything about us, from the way that you pursue your doctrine and beliefs to the way that you live out your life, the way that you're going to respond to life tomorrow. I don't always title the messages, but today I'm titling Awing Over God. Awing, that's probably a new word. Awing over God, or yawning at God. Awing over the idea of God, or yawning. Kind of like at the zoo, standing before the cage with tigers. Awing over this powerful, beautiful creature, or kind of like, seen it, let's move on. The answer will be, do you pray big prayers? Do you pray small, safe prayers? Do you have a holy reverence? Like an all-consuming, Something is so much bigger than me, or is it more like a casual glance? Are you willing to say yes to God before He even asks you to do something? Or is it like, well, let me hear what you have to ask and then I'll make my decision? And our answer isn't we should have more awe for God, or that we need to pray bigger prayers, have more reverence, or do something. It's really what we need to do is get another image of God. We need to re-image God, because our image of God, affects everything about us. So what I'm trying to do today, and I know it's a big attempt, and I'm definitely not qualified to do this, but I'm attempting to diagnose why there may be a gap between the stories of today and the stories of the Bible, and try to provide a solution. Have you ever wondered why our actions I'll speak for myself, seem to pale in comparison to some of the actions that are filled with faith, filled with audacious acts of faith in the Old Testament? We look at stories like Moses. Yeah, he was resistant, but he did eventually go and confront the most powerful man in the world over the series of 10 plagues to say, let my people go. And then he leads people across the Red Sea and sees, the sea split and then come back and drown the enemy. I think about Abraham, who had to have great faith because he left his home. He said yes for a promise that seemed ridiculous at the time. Think about Daniel. He said, yeah, I'm going to pray. Well, you're going to get thrown in a lion's den. I'm going to pray anyway. I cannot not pray, knowing that his life was going to be at risk. I'll look at the 3 Hebrew children. And they say, I'm not going to bow. Well, we're going to throw you in a furnace. I'm still not going to bow. My God is able to deliver me. But if He doesn't, which just amazes me, because He's just not going to serve God just because of what God can do. They're saying, if He doesn't, He's still God, because God remains no matter what happens in our life. He is. He was. He is. He is to come. So not too long ago, really not too long ago for me, I discovered that my approach to Bible study needed to be changed if I was going to get a clearer picture of who God was. So what I noticed is that when I came to Bible study, when I came to study or to hear a message or listen to a podcast, that I came with a application-only approach. Meaning that when I would come and open up the Bible, I would even pray before I open up the Bible. God, show me what I need to do. As if like the Bible is only filled with ethics and rules and, application type thing. I don't think that I'm alone. I think that this is actually a trend. I just think it's a modern trend, that because we are so performance-oriented with anything that we do, that when we come to the Bible, we're just trying to figure out, how do I need to respond? I need to be more trusting. I need to quit doing something. I need to start doing something. So I looked at the Bible like it was more a list of rules than it was a whole narrative from Genesis to Revelation of God saying, I'm pulling back the curtain on who I am through all the stories in the Bible. I'm trying to give you, the reader, a glimpse of who I am. But I'm coming to the story just saying, what do I need to do? For example, I think you can relate. If you ever hear the story of David and Goliath, you have this undersized underdog. And he's racing into battle against a giant. And all of his friends, they're saying, don't go, David, don't go. Well, here's some armor if you're going to go. No, I'm not going to wear your armor. Your armor doesn't fit for me. Yet we look at that and we go, man, I want to race towards my giants. I want to face the giants in my life. Because we're application oriented. We're not asking the question, why did David run towards the giant? We're just saying, we just want to run towards the giant. And probably every one of us, we've heard this in Sunday school, and we thought, okay, let me out of here. I'm ready to go face my giants. We read the story about the 3 Hebrew children in the furnace. They refused to bow. And we think, I'm not going to bow down to the world or the culture's idols. I'm going to make a stand. Even if no one else will stand with me, I'm not going to bow. Because we want to be application oriented. We want to do something. We look at Peter. We even sing songs about this. Peter getting out of the boat. That is inspiring. But what we pull from that is that, God, I want to walk on water. Sometimes we want to do these things without having a big picture of God. You know, even before just getting into any study or hearing a message, that was what I wanted to figure out. What do I need to do per the examples of heroes in the Bible? Show me what I need to do, God. And no one in here would say, well, Reg, that's a wrong approach. It's a noble ambition to want to change, to do something great for God. And it is. But there's a prerequisite to doing something great for God. And that is that we have to be consumed with the big picture of God.